Hello guys, tell you like it is. This is going to be the most important video that you will ever watch in your life, because in this video I'm going to expose the real life players of God, the Freemasons of the Illuminati, headed by the Rothschild family, the Rothschild dynasty, that has made trillions of dollars over the years. The Illuminati is headed by secret societies of Freemasons, Zionists, and Jesuits. It is the Jesuits that exist for social control, to get people to obey rules for heavenly rewards. I am not saying that you should not seek spirituality. Spirituality is great, because organized religion in authority and control always corrupts. It is the Freemasons that rule through secrecy. They use secrecy to give themselves more power and wealth. It is the Freemasons in their black and white that worship government and authority. They use power and government and connections to give themselves even more wealth and to amass millions and billions of dollars through the centuries. It is these Freemasons that control multinational corporations that make millions and billions of dollars but are underpaying their workers. It is greedy shareholders that inherit wealth and sit on it and do nothing. And workers don't get paid a fair wage because of these shareholders that inherit wealth. They don't do anything with it. The actual people that are doing the work are not getting rewarded and paid their fair share. This system of wealth inequality is all centered for the gang of the Illuminati to pick winners and losers. It is the Rothschild family, the central bankers, that are responsible for a system of perpetual warfare. What the Rothschild bankers do, the central bankers, the Rothschilds, is they print money out of thin air. They loan it to the government with the promise to pay it back with interest. But the problem is they can't pay it back because debt is created out of thin air in the first place, so it never is able to get paid back. So how is this fiat fraudulent system of wealth paid back? The answer is that the money is paid back with even more newly printed money, which results in a higher interest rate. The biggest expenditure that government has for the central bankers is war. The central bankers, the Rothschilds, the false prophets are the ones that profit off of war and interest payments to pay back the Rothschilds with the funny money that they print out of thin air. It is the Rothschilds, the false prophets, the false Jews that Jesus talked about in Revelation 3:9 that play both sides of the war. They were responsible for the globalist World War I and World War II that were vital to establish Israel. That whole topic I can talk about in a different day. But it is Jesus that called out the false Jews, the Rothschild bankers, and their trillions of dollars and their perpetual warfare and countless lives lost, so the Rothschilds can make money out of loaning funny money to governments, which governments use to make greedy shareholders at the military-industrial complex richer. Behold, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews and are not, but lie. Behold, I will make them come and bow down before your feet, and they will learn that I have loved you. It is Jesus that kicked the money lenders out of the temple. In Revelation 3:9, he calls out the false Jews, the Rothschild bankers, the ones that own your puppet politicians that stage the wars of the central bankers all a giant fraud so they can make even more and more and more trillions of dollars. It is the Illuminati that rules the world. The Illuminati is made up of Freemasons, Zionists, and Jesuits. It is the Zionist Jew bankers at the top that have their Freemason buddies that own stock in the most powerful multinational corporations around the world, which includes banks too. It includes banks, includes war manufacturing companies, all of that. Big pharma, the greed, ruining countless of lives with all their perpetual greed to make more profit. This is the center of the game. It is Rothschild, that means red shield in German. The head of the Illuminati is the Rothschild bankers, the ones that stage the wars throughout the world. It is the Rothschild bankers that fight wars in order to establish their own central banks in the countries that don't have central banks. That include Syria, North Korea, Cuba. These countries don't have a central bank in there. Iran doesn't have their own Rothschild-owned central bank to enslave their country with debt. They want you all a bunch of dependent slaves. It is Illuminati, that means, it is Rothschild, that means red shield. They're the head of the Illuminati. It is no coincidence that Illuminati and red shield both equal 48 in gematria. It is a gang out there that owns Donald Trump. Oh, you thought Donald Trump was some outsider. Oh, sorry. Donald Trump, it was so easy. Get a billionaire actor, reality TV star to act like he's one of you and act like he's fighting the establishment. And all these weak-minded fools are so easily manipulated by the beast. A sociopath is capable of emulating emotions, but they don't feel those emotions. Donald Trump is a sociopath, like the rest of the gang that doesn't care about the countless lives that are lost through all these wars that are meant to profit the Rothschild bankers. Likewise, it is red shield that equals 84. The central bankers are the rulers of the world. It is the Freemasons and the Zionists, the multinational corporations and the Zionist bankers. It is the Jesuits that are there for social control. Jesuit and the Catholic Church equal 84. The biggest corporation in the world that works for the wealthiest people in the world who own stock in all these multinational corporations in numerous countries. It is the United States of America that is the top of the chain. United States of America equals 84. The most multinational corporations in the world, China's catching up. Is China going to take over America? It is the rulers of the world, the Masons and the Zionists that use race, that use any little difference in us through class, through race, whatnot. Socio-economic backgrounds, they want you all fighting with each other, so we're all not united in fighting against the true beast, the bankers that are responsible for inflation, for this funny money that they loan to the governments. It results in inflation. The more money in the money system means the dollar is getting weaker, especially since the top 1% is hoarding all of the wealth and demand goes down. The only time that inflation doesn't happen is if demand keeps up with the increase in the money supply. The rise in GDP matches the rise in the money supply, but it is the wealthy in America and Ronald Reagan and all the trickle-down economic proponents that have hoarded all of the wealth to the top 1%. When the money is not going towards infrastructure, education, or a single-payer healthcare system that can ensure every man, woman, and child in America receives quality health care. We have money for that. Don't let these greedy Republicans tell you otherwise. Don't let the warmongers tell you. These wars are a fucking waste. All they do is benefit the greedy shareholders. It is his corporate tyranny, income inequality, and Rothschild puppet politicians that are responsible for working for the wealthy, like the Koch brothers who want to repeal all campaign finance laws. It is speculators like George Soros on the left that keep corporate Democrats running the Democratic Party. It is the evil gang out there that only wants profit, is amoral shareholders that don't care about the well-being of their fellow citizen. All they want is more wealth. They don't care if they're jailing people in America, ruining countless innocent lives, smoking a plant, but it's all about their profits. They can't have enough. It is Illuminati that means enlightened in Latin. It is the Freemasons that make up the Illuminati. Enlightened and Freemasonry, yes, both equal 58. What also has 58 contained in it is the spearhead of the Middle East, Israel. Ooh, make Iran the enemy of the Muslims. Stage 911, have the evangelical fools think that the Muslims are going to kill you. But that's what the military-industrial complex wants, and that's what the Rothschilds want. They want to beat you through fear. They want to conquer you through fear. They are evil. They are evil, people. For those that get it, they know how wicked the beast is. All the deception and propaganda they have let run rampant in America and around the world. It is the most powerful family in the world that wants World War III. You looked at the April 6th Syrian strikes. 72 years ago, World War II ended in the year 45. Trump is the 45th president of the United States. They are crafting World War III in front of our eyes. It is these Rothschild bankers that rule the world. It is the President of the United States that's nothing but a Zionist Jew puppet. It is the Kushners that have married Ivana Trump. The Trumps had to marry with the Jews before they're allowed to become the ruling family of America. That is the gang that rules over your country. Synagogue of Satan, the United States, both have the same simple gematria of 190. Likewise, Synagogue of Satan equals 64. It is Israel. It is the gang of Zion. It is the Zionists that own your major networks. Cable news network in gematria equals 64. The propaganda that is responsible for all this race baiting. They want to divide and conquer. That is what cable news network wants to do. It is Fox News Channel that wants you to fear immigrants, that wants you to fear Sharia law, so they get you to support World War III. It is these evil, greedy corporations that rule your world, that rule your media. It is America that works for the shareholders and the bankers instead of we, the people. It is the beast that rules over your country. For those that think Trump is the Messiah, he's going to save America. He is evil to the core. Trump is a demon like Hillary. You see that Alex Jones video of Hillary? The Antichrist equals 154. The number 54 is a key number of the gang of the Illuminati, the big three of the Illuminati, the Masons, the Zionists, and the Jesuits. After all, Freemasonic, Rothschilds, all equal 54. The Synagogue of Satan is the amoral corporations that value profit over mankind, the environment, and their fellow citizen. Continuous warfare is what the Rothschild bankers want in order to lend more money to governments, in order to make more money off of interest, to control more central banks throughout the world. This continuous warfare is the Synagogue of Satan at the heart of its control. Also, red shield means with the red sign. With the red sign also means Rothschild. You see right there. With the red sign, no coincidence, equals the Synagogue of Satan. You think about red, shedding blood, war, more money for the beast. Jacob Rothschild says so. It is the Freemasons, after all, that rule the world. It is the Rothschild bankers that control the central bank of the United States, that is independent of Congress, can do whatever it wants. The Federal Reserve Bank equals 96. It is corporate propaganda of the Koch brothers and the Libertarian Party that's responsible for trickle-down economics. You need demand to create jobs. When we don't have the money, when the corporations hoard the money towards good public investments like education and infrastructure and healthcare goes away. It is the top 1% that is hoarding the wealth. How come constantly we are always facing 2%, 3% GDP growth? It never should be at a level where it should be 5 to 6% GDP growth like we were in the 60s. High taxes and growth did invest. When you invest in we the people, good can come with it. When people have money to spend, rich people will always put money back into the economy as long as demand is high. When demand is high, sales is high. It is the select group in the Illuminati, in the gang, that is rigging the economy so the money is all centered at the top. They can't have it all. Likewise, the number 88 is a big number of the gang. After all, 8 times 8 equals 64. I talked about the Antichrist owning the major news networks, the synagogue of Satan being Israel and the false Jews. Corporate profits is all the shareholders care about. Screw you, screw my fellow man. The House of Rothschilds too own all your politicians like Trump, and Elizabeth Warren will be under the control of the Rothschilds. She will be a really big puppet of deception like Obama. It is the Zionist order that rules the world. A big number is 205 for the Zionists. I talked about the rigged economy and the illiterate lunacy of the libertarians. The Koch brothers and the wealthy are responsible for this cult of freedom, so they center more wealth at the top. More economic freedom for the wealthy to exploit the most vulnerable doesn't mean that we are all prosperous too. Libertarian economics and all this insanity, like repealing the estate tax so the wealthy can hoard more and more money through generations until stupid, spoiled, rich people who just sit on money that they got because they won the lottery at birth don't have to work a fucking day in their life, and they can just put the money in stocks and let you work your life or wear off your brain power if you're a white-collar worker. This is what this rigged system is. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. We just have to get rid of the central banks first, and the social control, organized religion, the evangelicals. After all, it was George Bush that said, God told me to invade Iraq. They use God. It is the Freemasons, the Freemasonic G, and the Freemasonic Ark that play the role of God. The Antichrist plays the role of God. They control organized religion. Like Bernie Sanders says, the economy is rigged for the top 1%. Trickle-down economics and organized religion is all propaganda under control of the gang of the Zionists. The fact of the matter is that central banking and the Rothschilds rule the world. Who rules the world? The Rothschilds are at the top. They are the 13th family of the Illuminati. Below them in the Illuminati is their fellow friends, the Masons, the Zionists, and the Jesuits, the Pope, the President of the United States, the Royal Crown of England, all part of the Illuminati. It's not motherfuckers like Jay-Z or any of those, or Beyonce or Justin Bieber that are part of the Illuminati. They just start throwing signs since, it all is cool to throw some cool signs that you don't know what really means, but the real people of the Illuminati are the ones that control the media and the government. Those are the ones that wield the real power, not the celebrities. That's just a bunch of fucking junk. They are mortal devils when you think about it. Mortal devil equals 131. This is the game. It's already been exposed, but let's go even further. Who is the Antichrist? Head of the Illuminati. It is the Rothschild bankers. The ones that lend funny money Okay, we don't have to have our money under control of the central bank. We can just print it ourselves without any interest attached to it. We used to have United States notes. They are controlled by the United States government. Well, we have Federal Reserve notes instead because they're under control of the private Federal Reserve Bank. Don't kid yourselves. The regional Federal Reserve banks are their own corporations. And what also equals 64, the key number of the gang. You think about it, you think about corporations, you think about greedy, you think about the Antichrist, you think about synagogue of Satan and Zion that controls the world in the number 64. It's evident. The Rothschilds that wage perpetual war and murder countless lives, and the Rothschilds instituted a draft during World War II and World War I. The Rothschilds are the biggest mass murderers in history because they are the bankers that staged the wars in the first place. The rule by the number 33 in the Freemasons, the highest degree of standard Masonry. And this is where the belief of, 333 degrees of Masonry or 330 degrees come into play. Divide and conquer the populace is what the Freemasonic gang does. Masonic-Zionist-Jesuit order equals 330. So no doubt the Rothschilds may have to be a master 333rd or 330 degree Mason. After all, Masonry equals 33. They have an oath to secrecy. Secrecy equals 33. Race war also equals 33. This is the family that, ever since the Battle of Waterloo, got really, really rich, and everyone was selling their stock because they thought Britain lost the war, but the Rothschilds sent their messengers back to England, and the Rothschilds bought up all the shares that everyone sold before the Battle of Waterloo, and the Rothschilds made a fortune because Napoleon did go down. So Napoleon did go down with the Rothschild bankers. It is the Rothschild bankers that have waged a revolutionary war. We were trying to get money from the Rothschilds. It was central banks that wanted to control America. This all the War of 1812 was fought because we wanted to break away from national-owned banks under the control of the international bankers. This is the evil gang that rules over the world, people. We could have world peace someday. We could have a money system that is not rigged from the start with perpetual interest and debt that only benefits a select group of people, a rigged economy of greedy shareholders that just sat on wealth that they had before they were born, and they don't do the real work, but they make all the money anyways, even though the ones with the brain power, the ones that are doing all the hard manual labor, are being paid really low wages. Also, the greedy corporations can sit on their wealth and not do anything with it. Like, this is bullshit. Like, why the hell does Apple need a tax break? They have $100 billion in retained earnings. What the fuck do they need? The answer is none. The answer is that the international corporations and the bankers rule the world. They own your puppet politicians. They're all sociopathic mouthpieces for these people. They're trained liars. They have to sound like they connect with you, but it is all grand, giant deception. Because a sociopath is capable of emulating emotions, but they're not capable of feeling it themselves. And this is how you have crazy psychopathic people like Donald Trump or George Bush, Barack Obama, you name it. It is the Rothschilds that rule your world. It's time to wake up. It's time to do something about this. It's time to spread the word. It's time to spread this video.